All right, everybody, what is up? Divine Hood here for a second video of the day. Sorry about the last video. I was a little bit rushed, so I had to take off before I was done. Anyways, in this video, I'm just going to cover the quick update of what happened to Bitcoin since the last time, and then I'm going to go over XRP, NEAR, RNDR, and FET. So jumping into Bitcoin here, we can see this is the 12-minute time frame on Coinbase, and we did make another high here into like 102.7. Now, we did kind of see a swing failure pattern of this high as well. If we zoom in here onto the 5-minute chart, you can see we had a swing failure pattern of the highs. Now, this is what a proper swing failure pattern is, you guys. We had our highs from today. You can see we were kind of ranging here sideways. We came up, we wicked above the highs, but we closed the candle, even at the 5-minute candle, at or below the swing failure pattern of the prior highs. Now that is a proper swing failure pattern, and upon the close of the candle, if you're at or below, you can enter short here. What you would do is you would go for the short trade, you would enter the short here, and you would set your stop loss above the wick, and you this one you could probably take as a scalp, and so you'd bring it down. You could be looking for the range lows. Now you could look to take the liquidity of this range. Oftentimes, after a big impulsive move like this, when we start to range, the market makers like to take the liquidity on both sides before continuing the move or before a bigger retracement or whatever is going to happen on Bitcoin. So you can see we got the swing failure pattern of the high here, swing failure pattern up here, and then now we're dumping a little bit. Now I did want to point out here, since we made that high, I just found a new channel on the chart. So I just went from the prior high to the new high, and then I dragged it down to these lows here. Now I chose these lows because they're a bit respected. You can see we hit once here, hit a few times, a few candles on the 5-minute, and then we also hit, and if I go back to the 12-minute chart, you can see that this is really nicely respected here. We're starting to lose the channel. We came up to backtest the channel on very low time frames, like if we go onto the 3-minute chart, backtested it here, and we're dropping. So this first box of support is our very local support we want to be watching. That's the back test of the big range value area high and the 382 here. The 382 fib is often a strong, acts as support or resistance in a strong trend, and this is a strong trend. So this 382 is just from the lows that we made on Saturday up to the highs, and actually we can re-pull that now because we do have new highs here. So let me zoom out onto the hourly chart. We're going to grab this. We're going to pull it to the highs here. And then we're just going to shift it over. So that 382. All right. So we got our 382 there now. And let's look at this bigger. So now that 382 is a little bit below our value area high, but oftentimes it will wick a little bit below the value area high and then close the hourly candle at or above the value area high on the back test. So let's be watching out for that. I also do see right away now that our prior highs here at 99.9-ish that we had before, the Christmas Eve highs, are in alignment with that 382, or they're a little bit lower. But this general area of support now, our prior highs are now going to act as supports, like a support resistance flip. And our 382 into our value area high there, that's our first box of support we want to be watching. If we do break that to the downside, we can look further. We can also do a fib pull from the very bottom of the move up to the top here. And we can look at bigger targets of retracement. So let's go to the golden pocket. Ooh, don't really like that. All right, we'll look at that a little bit later here. I do see a possible channel here zooming out from the bottom of the lows at the 91.3-ish. And if we go to, let's try this one here. And then let's go up to the top here. Okay, so let me hide this smaller channel that I just showed you guys. That's very local price action. But this channel does look pretty nicely respected. 1, 2 hits on the bottom. We have this here. We have this up here. Midline is being respected well. You can see the midline was holding all through here. Hit rejected here, which was also our POC. I don't like this price action above it, though. Let me try this here. Yeah, that's pretty nice there. So we'll look at that channel, and you can see our POC of the big range is around the bottom of the channel. Let's look at our pull from Saturday's low to the highs now here, and let's look at our 786. So our 786 is in alignment with the POC there. So now I'm going to delete this box now because we've already hit that support now. We've already taken that trade, but we do have a new box of support as well here. Bottom of the channel, POC of the big range, and it's our 786 of the move up from the weekend lows to the high we made today. Now we also have the midline of this channel aligning nicely with the value area high in the 382 in this box area here. So that's our levels to be watching here. Actually, that would be really nice if it takes a few hours to kind of bleed down to retest this value area high. It'd be in alignment with that channel midline. That looks pretty good there. So that's the local update on Bitcoin. I covered it just a couple hours ago, so not much new to go over there. Now let's go into XRP. Okay, and I think I did Bybit last time. So let's look at how our past trades played out. So we did come a little bit above this purple box, but we did get a reaction at first from the purple box, dropped a little bit, but our prior highs held. So you can see our prior highs here kind of held. These prior highs held us here. And now our prior highs are acting as a support on the 1 hour chart. We did come close to the top of our descending channel. So if we're going to zoom out here, we're going to go onto the 4 hour chart. We did not get the SFP though. See, or actually we did. The first wick we got into it, we SFP'd that and we saw a little bit of a drop down to our prior highs. It's also our bigger range prior highs here. You can see, well, this was a high here too, but our bigger last high that we had held as support after we got the swing failure pattern. So once you saw that bouncing, you could have taken profit, at least 50%, move your stop to break even, and then you would have got stopped out on the rest of it. Now, the second box that we looked at, so I'm going to delete this box now because we looked at that. We pretty much came up to it. We still have the daily above us a little bit. We still have the value area high, and actually we can move this now to our current price action, and you can see our value area high is aligning with the top of the channel and then the box. So I would say that this is still a box of resistance to be looking at. Our POC, let me get rid of this swing failure pattern now. We don't need that. And let me get rid of this too. You saw that we bounced from our prior highs there, and we're holding above them. So now we are starting to form a range here at the POC. I do see a sort of head and shoulders topping pattern, and we did have market structure change. So you can see we were making higher highs and higher lows on the hourly, but then we made a lower high on the hourly. So market structure change in a head and shoulders is a topping reversal pattern. So you want to be looking for head and shoulders at the top of moves. Now, this is the top of a move, potentially. We have our right shoulder, we have our head up here, we have our left shoulder that could be forming now. Since we broke market structure to the downside, even though it was only a wick, we broke market structure of like the neckline. You could call this white line here the neckline. So then we could be looking for a lower high to short. So let's look at that. Let's go from the highs here to the lows of this move, and let's pull it over. It looks like it's going to be the golden pocket here. So yeah, our golden pocket. So we wicked into our golden pocket, which often acts as a rejection in a right shoulder. That JC pocket area, I call it the JC pocket. That's the area between the golden pocket and the 786 here. Jason Casper kind of made this strategy up, or made it become famous. So I often trade this strategy. It's such a great strategy to trade, and you can look for bearish absorption between this high and this high on your CVD charts in order to get confirmation for that. Also, you can zoom in and look for lower time frame price action, but it does look like we could be potentially forming a right shoulder. So it would be something like, let's see, our head and shoulders. So, you could pull the bottom from wherever, but this is our left shoulder here, our head. Now that's kind of a crappy head right shoulder here, or I mean head completion there, and then we could be seeing a sort of right shoulder here, which would be a topping reversal pattern that we would want to see. That right shoulder is kind of not very nice though, but you could even do this as a right shoulder here, and then your left shoulder. Actually, I mean, it's like a head and shoulders. It's not perfect, okay? So, but we are forming a range in this sideways price action at this bigger range POC, and we still are within the descending channel. Now, if XRP does decide to break this bigger descending channel, we do need to watch. Let me just extend these boxes that I had here. All right, so let's zoom in on this price action here, and we'll also go look at those purple boxes to make sure they're still valid. But you can see we're rejecting from the JC pocket area at the bigger POC. We're kind of just trading within this POC, which is the fair value of the asset in this entire range. So right now, the market is trying to price in the fair value of XRP. And since December 24th, since Christmas Eve, we are looking at all of this price action in here. And we're at the fair value for that price action. We're going to zoom. First, let's look at the bigger levels that we have. So we can go for pull a fib from the high to the low here. And yeah, our golden pocket is still coming in. So this does, since we did go higher, our golden pocket's no longer aligning super nice with our value area low. Let's see if we can't find some other confluence there. Let's zoom out here actually onto the weekly chart. Let's see if we made any new. So that's been taken. We did make a new weekly support level down here. So we now have a weekly support here. Let's mark that out. No weekly resistances. This one was already taken with this wick. Let's go look at the daily now. This daily was even wicked out. This daily support right here has already been wicked out. So just the new weekly. But that new weekly does align kind of nice with the 786 here. So I would actually, let me zoom in, get a better look at this. Let's go to the 4-hour chart again. And now our new purple box of support is going to be this here from the 786 kind of to the weekly is one level I'd be looking at there. We do have this daily down near the midline here. Now we would have to drop pretty quick for it to be in alignment though. We do have our local lows though. If this does take some time, our lows here could align with the midline by the time we get down there. So we'll have to watch for that. But that's, you only want to take the SFP of those lows into the midline if it's the proper timing. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this purple box now. It's not as nice as support. Let's see. Let's look at the session volume profile. We do have that naked daily here at near the golden pocket. So that is kind of nice. I would say this box here could be good. And then we'll zoom into the other price action in just a second here, up this range up here to look at this weekly down here. And then if we do come down this low, we'll be just paying attention to the swing failure pattern into, well, we still have the bottom of the pitchfork that's coming up. We still do have this box way down here, which is like the pitchfork into the swing failure pattern of the channel lows. Let me mark that as swing failure pattern. But now it's not aligning so nice because back here it was aligning. Last time I did, it was aligning. We could have had the swing failure into the bottom of the pitchfork. Now the pitchfork is above it. We do oftentimes see, though, kind of fake outs, fake break of the pitchfork. We'll come down, we'll SFP, then we'll come right back up and then start trading within the pitchfork here. So that is still a box I'll leave on the chart just in case. Okay, so let's zoom in here on the top range and let's look at the top range. So let's go to the 15-minute chart. Let's get rid of this now. And I'm going to hide this bigger range real quick just so we can get a clearer picture. So we're going to be looking primarily at this price action here from the end of the pump. Now we're starting to trade in a sideways range. So we can analyze this sideways range to see how this is doing. And there's a couple things we could do for this. We could look for ascending channels. I saw an ascending channel that we just broke to the downside. So we had kind of an ascending channel going like this here. And we broke it to the downside. Actually, I probably would have pulled it from the highs. Here, and then this would go down here. So we had this sort of ascending channel type price action. We broke it. Now we're kind of back testing a little bit, but let's look at a couple options for this range. This primarily is a sideways range. Let's look at this ascending channel from this high to the next big high here, and then let's bring it down to this here. Okay, this looks nice. So you can see how the midline's been respected even in the past here. Midline respected, chopping around the midline, lost it. So I do like this one here a bit more. We'll keep that on the charts for now. Let me zoom into the 30 minutes so we can get a little bit better candle look here. Okay, now we're going to do a fixed range volume profile. We're just going to pull the volume of this range here. And you can see I ended the candle before, like the last impulse of up. So after the impulse finishes and when you start to range, that's the relevant price action we're trading now. So you pull your fixed range volume profile from the present all the way to where the range starts. Now, some people will include that candle too. I don't think it's going to actually change that much on it. Let's see if it changes anything. I just like to pull it to right after that last big impulsive candle to this one. And yeah, it's pretty much the exact same. So you can see that the value area high is holding, the value area low is holding here, and our POC is giving us reactions multiple times. It was acting as support up through here. When we lost it, we've dropped to the value area low, tested the POC as resistance this time, and dropped. Was able to reclaim the value area low here, pump to the value area high. You know, went back to the value area low. So now it looks like we're trading within the value area high and the value area low of this range here. We already said with this right shoulder that we were rejecting from the golden pocket from this high here, this high to the low. We did reject from the golden pocket here, which was also our value area high. So that's a reason why we rejected. And now we're coming down, potentially forming a right shoulder on a head and shoulders topping pattern. Don't trade just off patterns, you guys. Make sure you're using volume confirmation, other support and resistances, confluence. But as far as this price action goes, let's check this out to see if we've hit the golden pocket of this local move here. Yeah, we know, because actually this high was pulled after this low. So since this high has been made, we have not come down to the value area low. So look at this, is really nice actually, you guys. We have our value area low of our internal range, or our smaller range, head and shoulders range we can call it, in alignment with the golden pocket and the bottom of the channel. So this is definitely going to be our local box of support. Very local. Let me turn this. Here, we have our three levels of confluence. Value area low, golden pocket, and channel. All right. So that's the first. If we do bounce from here, we could probably expect to come up. I also see the midline of the channel is aligning nicely up here with the top of the bigger descending channel. And it might also be the 786. Let's check that out real quick. So from high to low, 786 is not up there, but it's probably the 886, which we can go up to the 886. It's not so nice. I wouldn't take it, actually. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So just right now, we're trading within the sideways range. We could look at the sideways range as an ascending channel. We could also just look at it as a sideways range as well. So what we would do in that case, let me hide this ascending channel. We can just do a parallel channel. We'll go from the highs. We'll make it a horizontal channel, and we'll go to the lows here, and let's look at this. It is pretty nice. I like the ascending channel, to be honest, better because the midline is more respected. So I'm going to delete this one and put back our ascending channel back on there. Okay, if we do still pump to the top, we have our daily at the top of, it's also going to, this purple box is also going to be, it's going to be our daily. It's going to be the top of the channel in there. But we will be breaking the bigger descending channel. And oftentimes when you break the bigger descending channel, you can see a volume move up. So we need to be aware of that. There's not much other stuff there to be looking at. Let's do this and four-hour chart. We're going to do a fib pull from our secondary high of the descending channel because this is always an important pivot. Down to the lows here. Let's look at our golden pocket. Our golden pocket's been hit. Let's look at our 786. So our 786 is also there, you guys. We have not hit this 786 yet, and it's right on the daily. So now we have multiple levels of confluence to be looking at. We have our box, our daily, and our channel. Let's make this a little bit better there. And then once more, we can do a fib pull from the highs of the channel. So this, think of this as like a bigger range here. So from the highs of the channel to the lows of the channel, we already hit into the 786. So that's been invalidated, or that's been taken there. So I wouldn't be looking at that anymore. I do still like this SFP into the pitchfork. It's not as nice as it used to be, but it is still somewhat valid, so we can watch that. And then we do have a little bit of consolidation here. We might have some sort of POC within here that matches that, but that's quite a bit of a small range, so I'm not going to look at that. We do still have our bigger pitchfork band down here, which I believe we had other confluences with. I can get rid of this now, our prior highs. We still do have the SFP here, but we won't look at that yet. So we're going to go do the fib pull from the last big low after we broke the pitchfork band to the upside to the highs. Okay, and if we look at the golden pocket here, so yeah, that's where our purple box is. So this box here is still super nice because we do have our golden pocket there as well. So we could have the swing failure pattern into the 0.65 golden pocket. It would be a little bit of a wick past the pitchfork, but we could see it recover real quick. We would want to see the recovery real quick. Remember, with swing failure patterns, you want to see it wick pass down. So we would wick pass down the 618 because the swing failure pattern's right on the 618 into the 6.5. And then we would, if we close that hourly candle at this 618 or above this SFP pattern, that's when you could enter long and you would look for targets from there. But we'd have to see where the wick ends to look at proper targets. Right now, we're just trading in this smaller here, the smaller range here, and we still do this. Still an important volume profile pull is this pull here, the range of the channel, the entire channel here. And so yeah, this value area high is still aligning with the top. So we do see a little box here that we could look at too, just based off of. Now you'd want to come up here pretty quickly. Let me turn this off. So we do have our value area high, our channel midline of our ascending channel, and the top of our descending channel. This could be a local resistance to be watching. This could be a resistance to be watching. And then we have our support box here. We have our support box here. Now with this one, it's a little bit tough because your value area low is your value area low is a bit higher than this area here. But the 786 into the weekly would be nice, and then you'd probably want to see the hourly or the 4-hourly close at or above the value area low, and then you might make the rotation back up. You'd want to be looking for bear divs at the tops here. So if we make another higher high into this purple box, actually, it does look like a very nice swing failure pattern as well If we SFP the highs, just like Bitcoin just did locally, Bitcoin just locally SFP its highs that it made earlier today. So we could be looking for a local SFP of these highs into the value area high into this box. So this purple box here is actually looking pretty nice. That's around 251-ish. 251, and you could SFP into the actual value area high, and that's around 250. What is that? I can't even tell. 252-ish. Yeah, about 252. So that's XRP. Let's check one more thing. We do have a naked daily down there as well. Pretty much where we're at. Okay. $786 down here does have that. Let's zoom in here onto the 1 hour chart. Where's our fair value gaps? So this golden pocket here with our purple box, we do have a fair value gap, and if we came into the golden pocket, we would fill this fair value gap as well. So that's more confluence there. We also do have a couple fair value gaps on each side of this white value area low, but I would want to take both of those into this purple box here. So just be aware of that. Fair value gaps oftentimes act as magnets. It's like an imbalance in the market that the market likes to correct. Okay, so this, we just started a new week, so we're looking at the weekly pivot points. We do have our R2 pivot right here in this box as well, so there's more reason for nice... I messed that up. Okay, so here, that box there has more confluence, and then our lower box here has more confluence as well. And then we have the SFP into this one here, this pivot point, S2. Okay, that's XRP. Let's go into near. Let's do Coinbase. I don't like that. See how the choppiness in those candles? So that's not, let's see, near USDT. Much better. Okay, and it looks like this is where I do my TA too. All right, so we're going to zoom out onto the weekly here. We're going to check this out. Looks like I had this channel here from here to this low. We were holding the bottom overall on the weekly, but let's get rid of it now. It doesn't look so nice anymore. We did wick into this weekly, so this must be old, very old. Let's just start fresh. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull an anchored VWAP from this high here. And then we also have our anchored VWAP, looks like also. Let's pull that down to the weekly low. All right, so they're both acting as support on the weekly pretty much, now that we flipped them. We could do a pitchfork from the highs, or from the lows to the highs to these lows here. And let's change it to a skiff pitchfork. Looks okay. Let's check modified. This one looks a little bit better, actually, because you can see the band was respected a bit more here. The midline is being respected here. All right, we'll go with this one. It's not the nicest pull, to be honest with you, but we'll check it out. We can also do a smaller pitchfork. I'll check that out in a second here. Let's mark out our weekly resistance that we have up here. And we could mark out this weekly down here. I don't know if we're going to get to that quite yet. And I also do see a weekly range kind of forming. We could do the volume profile pull from this week here like this. So the value area high is aligning with the pitchfork midline, which looks nice. We also have our weekly there. If it takes some time, they would be in pretty nice confluence up there. We're going to keep that in mind. I'm not going to draw that box yet on the chart. Let's zoom into the daily. Okay, this is looking pretty nice here, actually, you guys. We do have our first box developing. So we have the value area high, the pitchfork midline, and the golden pocket all here at around 694 to 687 is that? So this is looking like our first nice box of resistance above us here. Let's do a fib pull from the lows on the daily, the last big daily swing lows to the swing highs. All right, we already dropped into the golden pocket and the POC of the range, and it looks like we chopped around for a bit. Let's look at the 786. Okay, we bounced to the dollar from the 786, or pretty much exactly from it. So that, we're going to get rid of that. Now, we can also look at a different pull here of just this price action. This is more of a local range developing act. Our value area high bounce. When we lost it, came down to the POC, hitting at this. Now, let's check that out. Is that the 0.5 that we're at? Nope, not quite. All right, so that golden pocket's looking nice up there. That looks like we might pump there. I'm just trying to decide whether to include this price action here. It's a bit of a tough one for volume profile pulls. All right, I'm just going to leave that one there. Okay. So it looks like this anchored VWAP here, it has been hit quite a bit. And you can see after it's been hit a few times, it's not as respected as much. So I'm going to get rid of that one. This one as well, it's kind of, it is still acting as a support now that we're kind of above it. We're flipping it to support, but I really like this range here that we're dealing with from this last impulse here to sideways. This is probably the range that I'd be trading. All right, so let's look at this range. This is the pull to look at right now. So yeah, we still have our value area high up in our purple box, and our value area low is near our weekly here, and we also do have the SFP of these lows. I do like these range lows down here of the daily range. We have these range lows, and if you look, if it's going to take some time to get down there, which it will, we have our SFP into the pitchfork band. So that is a level I would be watching as another level to be aware of here. The SFP into the pitchfork band here. You can see that band held really well here. So this is our first resistance here, support here, not our first support. That's our just a support down there. Let's check this out again. Yeah. Let me zoom back out onto the weekly. Let's check. Okay, so I'm going to hide this range real quick. We're going to look at a possible channel to look at from the last weekly highs to these ones we just made. We're going to pull it down to the lows of this range here. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, we did bounce from the midline here. And we do have the top. We have a lot of confluence coming up right here. The weekly, that would take a while though. That's all the way in June. So I don't know if I'm. Hopefully we're not ranging in this range still in June. Let's zoom back in onto the daily. It is a level to be watching up here because we have our liquidity. We have our weekly, kind of this area. But you'd want to see the SFP. I'd probably, because if you break out of this, it could be a fake out of a big weekly channel. Oftentimes on the weekly, we'll see a weekly wick out of it and then come back in. But in order for that to happen, you definitely want to see the confirmed swing failure pattern. And I'd be looking for it on an hourly or less, because if we keep pumping out of this channel, you can, when you break a bigger channel like this, you can straight pump out of it with volume. So you'd have to be looking at an hourly swing failure pattern or under. All right, so let's zoom in here onto the 4-hour chart. So kind of the same type of range that all these had. That the Christmas Eve dump here, we were ranging in a smaller range from Christmas Eve, like the same one that Bitcoin broke the other day. We were ranging within this range, and now we're starting to break out of it. So we can look at the volume profile pull here. Our prior value area high was breaking out of. It acted as support here, and now we're pumping higher. And we could look at the smaller range that's up here. Like if we did something like this to kind of this area here. Yeah, that's where we're rejecting from our prior range value area low now. And it's also kind of our prior lows of that range. Kind of. This looks like a 3-wave correction to the downside here, like an ABC correction to the downside. ABC. Now we're starting to maybe form. Let's see, how do we do this? Wave 1 here. Now we could be in the third wave, which the third wave would bring us up to there. That would be nice. So as far as locally, we can do a pull, a fib pull from our bottoms to our high that we created today. Let's look at the golden pocket. And the golden pocket is probably also the retest of this value area high. Yep, so now that we broke out of this value area high, we did retest it and kind of hold it as support in this little area here, but we haven't had a high time frame back test, a higher time frame back test. So we could be looking, our first box of support would be that golden pocket down here in alignment with the value area high here. That's your first box of support you'd be wanting to watch. We do have the midline here. Let's do a pull from these lows here to the highs. Okay, so a couple things here, couple local support levels. So from the lows of the correction to the highs, we have our 786 that's resting right at our value area low, and it's our channel midline again, which you can see our channel midline has been holding its support historically, at least recently. So this is our second support level we would want to be watching if we break this level here. This pull, the 786 is probably also at It's a little bit above the POC, so I wouldn't be watching that so much. I do like the golden pocket into the value area high better. So for near, I'd be looking for a drop back down to like what is that? 539-ish is the retest of the value area high into the golden pocket. That would be a level to look at. We also do have an internal liquidity grab here at our second box of support, which is around 490. Our value area low of that prior range we have there. We have our 786 there. We have a liquidity grab, and we have our channel midline there. Let's zoom out here and see. Okay, I do see one other possible pitchfork we could be looking at here. We could go for these lows way down here up to this high. Down to this low here. And let's look at this as we are seeing some respect on it. You can see the pitchfork midline is holding. It's holding pretty well. We did have our band did give us some reactions in here, but I don't like it too much. I mean, it is pretty nicely respected, so if you really want to get degen with it, on the 4-hour chart, you could go from the lows of Sunday here to the highs, and that's around our golden pocket there. Let's look at the 786. No, I don't like that. Let's zoom in on this. Let's look at this on the hourly chart. All right, I do see a possible channel we could pull. Let me look at that a different way. We'll go from the lows to the next higher low and then up to these. Okay, that's much better. All right, let me get rid of this prior range. And I'm just going to hide that pitchfork I just made. So more confluence, we do have those lows down into this box here. On the hourly, it's the lows of the start of the channel, the ascending channel. So anytime you take the lows of an ascending or anytime you break an ascending channel, you always got to watch the lows for that channel where that liquidity started. So it's just based off this low, and this high here. You can see the channel midline's been highly respected here. And we got a wick up past the top, but we couldn't even close an hourly above it. So this box has more confluence for us as well. Some liquidity of the bottom of the channel. And if you want to look real degen like on this, you could do the volume profile pull of just the ascending channels price action. So like here, or I would even pull it to this right here. Okay, POC is aligning with the bottom of the channel for a local move, and it's probably also our golden pocket. Let's check that out. Here, golden pocket. Okay, it's a little bit higher, but that could be an area here, a very, very local area to be watching is like this box here. I do think that it's going to come up here, you guys. It looks most like it's going to come up here. We do have bear divs, though. Actually, let's check this out. So unlike Bitcoin, I'm going to get rid of this POC so you can see this a little bit better. Higher highs all through this channel, lower highs through the price action, and look at the money flow coming down too. So what Jason calls this is the Sam Bankman-Fried man boob pattern. Money flows going down as well as 1-2 drives. Actually, this high is a little bit higher, but overall we have bearish divergence from this high to this high. So higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves with money flow decreasing steadily. We have a bearish man boob pattern here, and we could expect a push to the downside. So we might break this channel and come take these channel lows here, or we could even come much lower here. Yeah, okay. So that's kind of what I'd be watching. First local support, second support, third support. Let's zoom out onto the 4-hourly chart. Let's look at the bear divs if we have them. Yeah, bear divs confirmed. So higher highs in price action here, lower highs in the momentum waves, and money flow is starting to top out and roll over. We could see a correction from where we're at now. Now remember, we are rejecting from our prior range value area low, which is often important. When you break a range to the downside, sometimes you'll come up to retest that range now as a resistance. And if we reject from it, you can continue down. And remember, if we can continue down, we can come at, I mean, it would be easy to come down here because that's the fib pull from the lows to the highs here. And if this is just a correction wave and a bigger ABC correction, so oftentimes in an ABC correction, you'll have subcounts within the big count. So if you have a, like this would be your big wave, right? An a B here, and actually we can look at the 0.5 to see if it was hit, and then a C wave. But within the A wave, you also want to see a zigzag correction within that for your A wave. So A, B, C zigzag correction, and then this could be some sort of complex correction here for your B wave, and then you'd want to see an A, B, C, a smaller 3-wave zigzag to the downside as well. Let's check the 0.5 from the highs that we made to the lows. So we just front ran them. But really the correction zone is anywhere from the 382 to the 0.5. So we did technically hit our resistance there. It would be nice. We might continue chopping for a little bit until we get up to that 0.5 at 639. Let's see. I mean, I do still like this golden pocket here because it is the POC of that range as well, and it is the much higher time frame midline of the pitchfork. All right. So that's just speculation on Near Protocol. I would be watching this channel here. I'd be watching this local support around what 584-ish to 585-ish, this area here. And then this area is also a very good area to be watching. And our anchored VWAP is also down there as well. And we haven't had a high time frame back test of the anchored VWAP since we broke it the last time. Now we did have some chop around it in here. All right, let's do our next chart. It's going to be render. Let's look at the, let's see if we have more price action. That's the same. Okay, let's stay on the weekly. So it looks like I had a pitchfork drawn from the last weekly lows to the high to the low. We've got our pitchfork. We rejected pretty much exactly from the midline. You can see this band held us for multiple weeks as resistance. We dropped to the bottom. Bottom held. Last time we touched the bottom. We do have a new weekly. Let me get rid of this internal one. So we have two new weekly levels to be looking at. We have our weekly resistance up here. And we have the weekly support down there that's just confirmed, I should say. We have this one here as well, but we'll leave that off the charts for now. Let's go on to the daily. All right, so as far as the daily goes, I would be looking at this local range here. So we can do the fixed range volume profile pull of this range. We do have a much bigger range to be looking at as well. We could pull it all the way to the start of the pitchfork. Always analyze the volume within the pitchfork. I don't like that very much, so. All right, let's check this out. Let's zoom into this. Let's check this out. So it looks like we were chopping in the band, kind of like Bitcoin did. Actually, this looks very similar. If we zoom in here on the 4-hour, you can see we were chopping within the band here in between the lows of the band and the highs of the band. We had that fake out of the band into the value area low, and then we started pumping. Now this was the value area low of a big daily range, so that is, Bitcoin front ran its value low at 90K, but it looks like Render did go into that value area low, but also Render made much crazier lows on that dump on Christmas Eve. We're at the value area high right now. We still do have our local golden pocket pull. So this golden pocket pulls from the high here where we rejected from the midline down to the lows. You can see our golden pocket. We still have some liquidity that's resting right there, which is still a nice level to be watching. Okay. Now we can do a fib pull from the local move up, the local move we saw since last Wednesday. Okay, I don't like the golden pocket, but the 786 is going to have some nice alignment. Yeah, okay. 786. Now we would be wicking a little bit past the band depending on how quick we get there, but we do have like the 786 into the POC of the range, and also our pitchfork is there. So we might see a wick into the 786 and the POC, and then kind of close the hourly candle at the pitchfork level and hold that. That's pretty nice there. And then we could also do just one more fib pull from the very bottom of the dump here to the highs. And yes, our 786 is aligning nicely with the value area low here. We do have some liquidity down here as well. The last big move up, we have liquidity down here. And actually this 786 here, we could pull this to this low here just because it's 80 bit lower. So yeah, it's still in alignment with the POC. So another box here I'd be looking at is the 786 to the SFP down here. You'd want to close. You'd want to wick into that SFP pretty quick though, and then reclaim the value area low and the 786 pretty much right away. We do have the weekly that's there as well. So I guess you could call this one big box here. It is kind of a big box to be looking at. If you really wanted to micromanage it, you could look at it as two trades. You could look at the weekly into the 786 as one trade, and then you could look at the SFP into the value area low as a different, or yeah, the SFP at the value area low, and then you'd want to reclaim that value area low really quickly. You could take those as I probably would try them as separate trades, or I'd look at to see how it's reacting once it's down there. All right, so our prior highs, you can see our prior highs were holding a support as well as the top of the pitchfork band, and that's why we got that push up to the value area high. If we look at this as a continuing strong move, we can go from the lows to the highs, and we can speculate, okay, looks like strong. So our 382 we have not hit since we hit the value area high. So now our very, very local support, 382, often acts as support in very strong trends, and it's in alignment with the back test of the pitchfork. So you could be looking as a very, very local area here. It's also around our prior highs here. So now that we broke this range, just like with all the coins, we kind of saw this range here with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, with all of them. And we're breaking out of that range the past couple days on all these coins, this kind of range we saw in here. So oftentimes your prior highs will act as supports now, and then we can do a volume profile pull of this range. We can analyze the volume of this range here. I mean, the POC is right around this box here that we already have, which is nice. Now, I bet you this pull here from high to low, our golden pocket is going to be, yeah, okay. So there's a lot of levels here to be looking at locally on render, because we do have our golden pocket into the value area high back test. You know, once you break the value area high, this range. But if it's really strong, the highs of the range will bounce. So if this is a really strong trend, you're going to not even see it come back down to the value area high. You're just going to see the prior highs themselves hold. So if it's really strong, it's going to do this. If it's a little bit like Bitcoin over the weekend, we came back down to the value area high, back tested the value area high, and then went higher. And I guess some of that is going to depend on how Bitcoin holds up as well. So if Bitcoin continues to hold up and continues pumping, we can look at this 382 into the prior highs here as our first local support. We have our set next local support, the golden pocket into the value area high of the last range that we were just seeing. Gosh darn it. There we go. Then we have our bigger range POC on the daily, our daily POC into the 786. We also have our smaller range POC right close by. And we have the pitchfork band here. That's the level to be watching. This internal liquidity could be close to that too. All right, so as far as bear divs go, no bear divs here. We're making higher highs on the momentum waves and higher highs here. So unlike the last coin we looked at, what was that? Near did have bear divs. Render does not have bear divs on the 4 hours. Let's go on to the 1 hour chart here. No bear divs on render either. So render does look like it might continue higher. You know, Bitcoin didn't have bear divs either. Let's go on to the daily chart. No bear divs here. Money flow looks okay. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. All right, so really, it's not so nice, but we do have some bear divs from this high here, because you can see from this high to this high, we're making higher highs, and we are making lower highs from this high to this high. Money flow was still going up at the time now. So since money flow started going down, we have not made bear divs. I also can see this zooming in here. We could trade render. I see a nice little like 15-minute channel here that we could be looking at here to the bottom. So this could be like a bull flag as well. And that would make sense. We don't have the bear divs on higher time frames. We could consolidate. Let's look at the volume here. Volume is decreasing in the entire formation of the flag. So that's kind of a bullish sign. When you see volume decreasing on a drop to the downside after a pump, that does give a sign that continuation might happen. Because you got to remember, this descending channel is like a continuation pattern if volume is decreasing. Now, if volume is increasing on that, you got to trade it differently. Okay, looks like we bounced from our prior VWAP close. If we just look at this 15-minute chart here, and we're going to go do a fib pull from the lows on the 15-minute chart to the highs here. And we're going to look at our ABC correction target. Or just our 0.5 there. I would rather pull these lows from this low, though. Okay, that aligns better anyways. So our 382 often acts as support in a strong trend. 382 bottom of the channel is coming up, and that would also make sense kind of for a bull flag if we do see a bull flag. You do have to watch out for these on these patterns though. Sometimes we break the channel and just SFP the highs and then come back down. So always watch out. Don't trade solely off of patterns, is what I'm trying to say. You can use patterns for confluence. You can use patterns to kind of get an idea, but this does look kind of like a nice bull flag here. If we do something, you know, like the pull here, kind of a flag, and then boom, up. And let's just look at this. Let's look at our measured target. So if we go from the highs of the pole to the lows of the pole here, let me zoom in onto the 15-minute chart. Now let's say the 382 is going to be our bottom. So at the bottom of the channel in the 382. So yeah, our target is right around that golden pocket there for that. A little bit higher, but oftentimes you don't hit the exact target. It's just an idea. I don't know if I'd trade solely based off that, you guys. Looks like we have more confluence down here in our box. We already had that box marked out. We also have these lows down here, but I wouldn't be looking at that yet. So more confluence for our second box, third box of support, that was. Let's zoom out here onto the daily, and let's look at just an anchored VWAP from the last daily high, from this high here. And then we could actually also do an anchored VWAP from those lows. Okay, this is important, what we're seeing there. Let me do an anchored VWAP from the lows that we saw on Christmas Eve. Or no, that was the 20th, but let's do that. Okay, now we're going to zoom back into the 2-hour chart. Gosh, this is getting messy, I know. Sorry, guys. Try to work with me here. Okay, so both of our anchored VWAPs are aligning nicely with resistances. So we're at the resistance now. Well, our anchored VWAP, we broke it to the upside for the first time, and now we're trying to flip it to support right now. We're like at it as we speak right now, kind of trying to hold it. I wouldn't mind seeing us come down to this 382 though. But our other anchored VWAP from the lows here, you can see they're in our first purple box area. So we have more confluence there as well. Gosh, it hasn't been very nicely respected though, but all right. Not super nice. This one though, this one from the highs, you can see it's been acting as resistance every time we come up to it. So the fact that we're flipping it, possibly flipping it to support for the first time. Now, we haven't quite done that yet because you can see we're below it now. We did only have a couple hours above it, or actually, what, 4, 8, 12, half a day above it. That's not so bad. This is a bigger resistance box, though, because it is our value area high of the big range and our anchored VWAP there. So I could see us rejecting from here. Let's just see how it plays out. I do like this first box of support that I drew here at, what is that, 8.11. Our prior high is 8.12 to 8.13 here. This box looks really nice if we came down to there. The other one that looked really nice was this one down here. We've got two POCs down there, 786, the pitchfork band, and then of course always the back test of our prior highs, of our range prior highs, and it's a golden pocket and anchored VWAP, so that's nice too. 4 hour, no bear divs. I think I just covered that. Let's zoom in onto the 15-minute time frame, see if we're seeing divs here. Actually, I just checked that. So no, we're not seeing divs here. Not really. I mean, there's divs from this high to this high. But that kind of could be what's playing out in this channel here. just a small time frame divs. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking at for render. Let me get rid of this purple box now because that's technically a higher time frame resistance value area high and anchored VWAP. So we might kind of reject from where we're at now and go a little bit lower. Let's keep an eye on that. We could look at the weekly pivot points because it's a brand new week. That's just why I like to look at them here. So yeah, it was our weekly pivot too that we kind of were rejecting from. Let's do this because I do like, okay, one thing I see about this 0.5 here, which is kind of a correction target. See if, you know, what ABC kind of up to the upside here. I mean, you'd kind of want to take it from here, but, oh, and that is taking it from there. So our prior highs here are also at that 0.5. Remember, with healthy markets, you often come back down to test the prior highs and flip them to support. And if it takes some time to just, we can chop in this channel for a while, which it's only on the 15-minute time frame, so it'd only be like half a day or so, chop down to this level here, and then see the breakout. Because we have our R1 pivot there, we have our prior highs, and we have our 0.5 from the fib pull from this low to the high, the last like hourly move up, pretty much. You don't really want it to go to the 0.5 if it's a bull flag, though. You kind of want it to stop at the 0.32 or even the 236. So that would invalidate the bull flag. You can also look at the bull flag. You can do a 1-to-1 fib time because you don't want your flag to be longer than the pole, at least not a lot. So you can go to like a trend fib base time. You go from the lows to the highs, and you're just going to double click the highs to get your thing set. So actually, I mean, it does look kind of nice. You know, the 0. We'd still be within that range for the bull flag to be valid if it hit here. Okay, so yeah, could still look at that as bull flag. And in that case, your new target would be you pull the pole, bring it to the bottom of your support here. Let's just say like this. And yes, look at that. Okay, so that does look kind of nice. This is just how I look at patterns to kind of figure out if there's confluence. So if this is a bull flag and it breaks out, we know to take profit up here for sure because that's the target and it's our box that we already have more confluence at. Okay, so I gotta get on to the next one. FET. Let me turn the weekly chart. Ooh. Is that all there is for FET? I thought this one was an older coin. Looks like I've done some. Wow. Okay, let's do Coinbase here. Actually, no, this one does have more price action. Okay, we'll do this one. This is on Binance on the weekly chart. Let me check something real quick here. That's pretty nice. Okay. I see two channels right away. We are in a bigger weekly channel here where you can see the midline's been respected multiple times on the weekly here. Bounce from the weekly, came up to the top, came down to the weekly again, or to the midline, excuse me. So that is a channel. Let's watch that because also our more steep channel that we're seeing, this more steep trend, you can see this is more of a steep trend. And this does look like a 5-wave impulse too. Impulse pattern. We got our 1 here, our 2 here, our third most longest aggressive wave, a 3 here, a 4 here, and we could be starting a 5 to the upside. 5 could come, it could be a truncated 5, which would be there, or we could go higher up to here. But actually, I don't want to do it there. Yeah, that was November 2022. That was the lows of the bear market. Okay. I do like this pink channel that's more steep and more ascending. I do like the other one as well. I'm going to keep both of them on the charts. Let's mark out our weeklies, just relevant ones here. So we've got one there. Excuse me. Was this one hit? Yeah, that one was hit. We got this one way up here. Now, with some of these altcoins, they move like crazy amounts too. So, and then we got our weekly down here. What's that hit? Yeah, technically. I mean, it's, no, I'm not going to put it on there. Okay, now let's go to the daily. I mean, we could pull the pitchfork too. You could do the pitchfork from the lows of the channel. The same kind of pivots here to here to here. Okay, I know this looks really messy, guys, right now, but I do like how the bottom of this pitchfork aligns with the pitchfork mid, or the bottom of the pitchfork aligns with the bigger channel midline. You can see we're holding this band here. All right, I'm going to take it off for now. I know I love channels, right? Here we go. Here's another one. And the midline is being respected. Dang it. Okay. What I'm going to do for now is, because this bigger weekly channel is quite far away for now, I'm going to hide this. And we're going to look at these two ones, because this channel is pretty much the entire price action of the bull market from November 2022 lows all the way up. And then this one is from the March highs all the way down. So those are two important, because a lot of altcoins made highs in March, new highs in March. And then we've been seeing kind of sideways or down since then. And since the beginning of the bull market, we've been in this more impulsive bull market price action. So both these channels are important based off higher time frame sentiment and what's happening overall in the charts. Let's go on to the daily chart. We could just take the fixed range volume profile here. Looks pretty nice. All right, so our channel midline is, our descending channel midline is aligning with the value area low. You can see we front ran it a couple times, so it would be nice to actually come down and touch it, take the liquidity of these semi-triple lows here. Let's look at the golden pocket from the lows of the channel. I'll fix that. From these lows here, and let's go to the golden pocket. Okay, so we're at the gold. We're kind of trying to hold the golden pocket now, which is at the POC. But the 786, okay, so this is nice. I do see our first box of support here, because it's the value area low, the channel midline, and the 786 here. And we haven't touched that yet. Plus, we have the liquidity grab into there of these semi-equal lows here. Just like with Coinbase, we had lows and then lows that were barely higher. So we've got that there. Now we've got our value area high aligning with the top of the channel and a fresh weekly. That right there is a resistance we definitely need to be watching if we keep pumping up there, which is very possible we do. Another range pull that I would pull is just from this more sideways price action. See how we were kind of dumping through all of here? And then since there, we've kind of been going more sideways. So yeah, that makes sense there. So we're possibly rejecting from value area high, which is also probably, let's do a fib pull here. Golden pocket. Okay, not a golden pocket, but it's a 0.5. Yeah, we're rejecting from a 0.5, which tells me that this could be an ABC correction to the downside. Like, you know, A, B, and then C down here. Now we do have our three wave, 1, 2, 3 within it. 1, 2, 3 to the top, and then we could see a 1, 2, 3 to the bottom. Yeah, so our bigger bull market, we're at the bottom of our bigger bull market though, bull market channel. So if that breaks, now it's a big weekly channel, so you'd want to close a weekly candle below this channel to confirm a rejection of it. But what we can do right now is look at the last daily push up from the daily lows to the daily highs here. Let's go to the golden pocket. Okay, so I do like the alignment with the golden pocket here. But if this is a bigger ABC, then we're going to lose it. And actually, that third wave would make sense to kind of come down to here kind of impulsively. We can do a fib pull to this one here too. Okay, so yeah, I mean, this is an area to be watching because it's a golden pocket into a bigger POC. It could be a weekly fake out coming down to here, hitting here, and closing the weekly back at or above the ascending channel. But that ascending channel is pretty important, you guys. It's held so much throughout the entire bull market. So we start to lose that, it could look bad. But let's just trade the relevant price action for now. You could even pull a range like of this super local price action here, or actually I would do it down to after that dump there. POC's right there, and the value area still we're rejecting. Yeah, so this looks nice too. I mean, it's very similar, but our POC's there, our golden pockets there, the bottom of our channel's there. Zoom in onto the 4-hour chart. And just like all the coins, we had this range right through here, pumped it to the upside. So you could zoom in on this and you could do a fib pull of just this, or a volume profile pull of just this range. And yeah, the back test of the value area high is aligning with the bottom of the channel as well. And that's also probably our golden pocket from this last move up to the bottom. A little bit higher. All right. But this 786 does look nice too. Just more confluence for this box. The smaller 786 is also in the bigger golden pocket. I like the box better than the value area high on this one, guys. So if we do come up to this 886 in this weekly, it is getting, so the 886 is from this high to this low here. Anytime you come up to an 886 like that, even if you see rejection, you're more likely eventually to come take these highs. It is a box where we could see the rejection because it is the weekly and the top of the channel as well. You could even look at this upper range that we were seeing through here before this dump, like this kind of range here. I don't really like that. Did I check for daily levels on this? The weekly's in front of that daily here, so I wouldn't choose that, but we do have the daily here and the fresh daily here. We've got that daily order block there too. So one more time, let's do the fib pull from the high to the low. Let's check the golden pocket because it might be right at that daily. Okay, so that is a level there. There's a fresh daily there and a golden pocket there. And Bitcoin's at its golden pocket retracement after the big flush down right now, today. FET's a little bit behind. There's that. I wonder, let me just do this real quick. Let's see if the big POC of the entire price action of the descending channel. Okay, well, we do have our value area high up there, so there's more confluence for this purple box up here. So we got 1 box, 2 box of resistance. We're kind of at a resistance right now. Now, this is a fresh daily, so this daily hasn't been hit. I just created it based off of the price action, the daily that closed, what was that, 3 hours ago or so, 4 hours ago. And let's just look at this box down. Here's our first support. This box down here's our second support. And that's it for FET there. All right, guys, have a good day. Hope this helps for you guys. Much love.